The hard-earned retirement security of working families is facing a silent squeeze from ongoing economic pressures. Many American households are watching their fixed incomes erode, while the actual cost of daily survival continues to climb. Our community deserves a transparent look at the structural financial shifts that official reports often downplay. Recent government projections reveal that a major legislative deadline is moving closer much faster than expected. Citizens who contributed to the system for 40 years now find themselves navigating highly complex procedural rules. We are told a larger cost of living adjustment is coming, but independent economic data suggests a different reality. The practical reality is that high prices have significantly reduced household purchasing power over the last 6 years. While family budgets are pushed to the absolute brink, policy discussions regarding long-term reform remain deeply stalled. Every single dollar added to a monthly check is instantly absorbed by rising local property taxes and utility bills. The basic cost of groceries and healthcare routinely outpaces the fixed formulas used for official annual increases. Many working people feel trapped in a neutral zone where they earn too much for aid but too little for comfort. The system relies heavily on current workers while failing to secure the long-term solvency of core public funds. To defend our collective financial future, we must carefully analyze the mechanics of these bureaucratic frameworks. By evaluating these complex systemic vulnerabilities together, we can better protect the financial health of our elders. Sharing this independent analysis with your neighbors is a practical way to ensure our community stays well informed. The official Trustees Report highlights a critical funding deadline for the Retirement Trust Fund in 2032. If policymakers fail to implement structural adjustments before that year, automatic cuts of 22% may trigger. On an average monthly payment of $2,081, that reduction equals $458. For an individual relying on $1,500, it means losing $330 of baseline income. This is a pressing concern for current recipients because this specific timeline concludes in less than 7 years. A past legislative measure reduced certain tax burdens on senior benefits, providing brief, short-term breathing room. However, that same structural adjustment reduced the total volume of revenue flowing directly back into the main fund. It is vital to note that complete reserve depletion does not mean the total termination of every monthly check. The program will continue to collect mandatory payroll taxes from younger generations who are currently employed full-time. But those incoming tax revenues are only projected to cover 78% of what retirees are legally owed. The resulting funding gap would force an automatic flat reduction across the board regardless of personal health status. This long-term uncertainty creates measurable anxiety for 24.8 million citizens relying on this fund. The proportion of retirees with zero alternative income sources has risen from 39% to 44% recently. At the exact same moment, a separate debate is unfolding regarding the upcoming 27% cost of living raise. The Consumer Price Index for wage earners indicates that inflation has been running near 4.4%. Independent, nonpartisan analysts currently estimate that the final annual adjustment could range up to 4.7%. On paper, a 4.7% increase sounds like an incredible economic victory for the average household budget. For a family receiving $2,500, that specific adjustment would add $117 monthly. But independent experts caution that these larger estimates are a clear signal that core inflation remains stubbornly high. A veteran policy analyst calculated that current real-world expenses require an extra $94 every single month. When your monthly check increases by $56 but basic survival costs jump by $94, you lose ground. That persistent gap is the exact economic friction grinding down the middle class while public discussions yield few results. To make matters more complex, the projected increases in monthly Medicare Part B premiums may offset these new gains. One federal framework provides a small cost adjustment, while a separate administrative process claims a portion back. Many community members are forced to make difficult compromises regarding their daily nutritional needs and medications. A significant number of older citizens have reduced their household spending on essential goods to manage energy bills. It is difficult to celebrate a minor percentage hike when the real prices of local services increase exponentially. A standard home insurance premium or medical copay can double within a single calendar year without any prior notice. The standard calculation formula often fails to capture the true weight of senior expenses by tracking wrong items. Analysts argue that decades of complex trust fund accounting and delayed structural reforms have created this shortfall. The federal Treasury has historically utilized special, non-marketable bonds to balance the broader national budget. They have absorbed cash surpluses from the retirement system and replaced them with long-term government obligations. If these massive internal debts were structured with higher market-driven interest rates, the system would be more stable. Furthermore, the current statutory cap on taxable earnings allows high earners to stop contributing early each year. An ordinary employee pays the dedicated payroll tax on every single dollar they earn from January through December. But a corporate executive earning a high salary stops contributing to the fund within the first few months. Adjusting or removing that arbitrary income cap could theoretically stabilize the entire program for several decades. Another persistent point of discussion involves the structural differences between various public assistance programs. Certain supplemental security benefits are structured differently than the retirement funds built by lifelong workers. A citizen who labored in the private sector for 40 years can end up with less relative support than expected. This perceived imbalance tests the social contract that multiple generations of American workers built their lives upon. Meanwhile, separate retirement structures for federal officials often provide distinct protections not available to the public. Lawmakers retain the authority to shape their own institutional benefits while citizen programs face systemic inflation. Economic critics point out that complex administrative practices can obscure the true tax burdens placed on businesses. Standard payroll strategies often distribute the cost of employment taxes in ways that limit visible wage growth. Faced with these structural shifts, our community must maintain a highly disciplined and objective financial posture. Do not allow alarming media headlines to panic you into making hasty decisions regarding your personal savings accounts. If you are currently receiving retirement benefits, remember that your core checks remain legally secure right now. This is the ideal time to audit your local property tax codes because many counties offer specific senior exemptions. You should review any unexpected overpayment notices thoroughly by requesting a comprehensive administrative breakdown. Never sign an official acknowledgement form before verifying the exact transactional history of your file directly. You possess the legal right to request a formal waiver of repayment if the clerical error originated within the agency. Demonstrating that a collection action would cause severe economic hardship is a valid statutory path to freeze a claim. If you have not yet claimed your retirement benefit, this evolving landscape requires a balanced strategic approach. Some retirees may consider claiming early, at age 62, as a defensive step against future legislative updates. It allows an individual to secure real dollars today before any long-term structural changes can be implemented. Conversely, waiting until age 70 guarantees a much higher baseline check, which helps offset ongoing food inflation. The optimal choice depends entirely on your personal health, outlook, savings level, and individual risk tolerance. We cannot afford to leave our retirement security dependent on unpredictable political debates in Washington. Our families must become proactive by studying the specific administrative regulations that govern our household wealth. Accurate knowledge of these complex financial frameworks is the most reliable asset for long-term household stability. Let us summarize the critical milestones that our community must monitor over the coming months of this year. The latest Trustees Report officially projects the primary retirement reserve depletion for the end of 2032. Without timely bipartisan intervention, a flat 22% reduction could impact all beneficiaries automatically. Preliminary independent estimates for the 2027 adjustment are hovering between 3.8 and 4.7. The final official calculation will be locked in this October, after the Summer Consumer Price Index is fully processed. We must prepare for a meaningful adjustment that will unfortunately be shared with rising Medicare premium deductions. True financial defense requires us to stay informed and analytical regarding every shift in federal administrative policy. We will continue to track these breaking policy updates so you can insulate your household from systemic risks. Please support our community by sharing this independent report with another family who relies on these funds. Stay focused, keep your financial records organized, and we will see you in our next objective investigative analysis.